Next up, we have communicating key insights, reporting and dashboard creation. So in visualization, I mentioned to you Tableau, the ability to basically make sense of data, to make pie charts and graphs and all that kind of stuff. And the more complex version of those is making dashboards, right? A dashboard is basically a view with a lot of pie charts and graphs on it that somebody can look at and understand a big picture of the business. Imagine Philippine Airlines. If you are the scheduler for Philippine Airlines, your job is to schedule flights and flight crews and understanding which planes are fully booked and which planes have room. And then you want to see which of your planes need maintenance. And you want to understand, are you going to have a lot of delays? And you want all that in one view, all that different data. You can build a business dashboard to give you a pie chart or a line graph or something for each of those things. So as the manager at Philippine Airlines, you can look at it and say, okay, so today we're going to have a bunch of delayed flights, and it's going to impact these crews and their assignments. And we're going to have these passengers are going to need to be able to be rebooked. And we have a bunch of planes that are coming up for a maintenance. So it's going to cause even a bigger problem. So as a manager, you can look at all that in a glance and see what you have to focus on. That's what a business dashboard does. I mentioned Tableau, which is my favorite tool. But there's another one called Power BI, which is by Microsoft. And it's also got a start free, like you can do a freemium version where you start with a basic one and you can pay as you go. But if you want to take the demo basically and use it for a couple of weeks, you'll learn how to do stuff like this, right? So you want to be able to build dashboards. Again, if you want to get a job right now working in analytics, and you want to work from home and you want to work in the Philippines, if you can use Tableau or Power BI, that is your quickest way to find work. Because this stuff is something that most people don't like doing and are not good at. So if you find that you're good at building things like this dashboard here, or all the different things you can, when you click on and see what you can do, establish a governance of the truth, unify enterprise scales, infuse data. So you just go and you can learn more about their different stuff. They have training resources. Both Tableau and Power BI have a bunch of courses. Some are free, some are paid. They have big followings on YouTube. So you can find a lot of stuff. So again, if you're looking for something out of this training tonight to really kind of get out there and do something, the ability to communicate key insights by creating reports and dashboards using Power BI or Tableau is your best bet. So that is number 6. Number 7, understanding key performance indicators. Know what drives business performance. You want to be able to identify and track KPIs, key performance indicators. What's the most important KPI in any business? You can usually guess, right? Say Jollibee. If you're working in a Jollibee, and you're trying to decide if that Jollibee is successful or not, you're going to try to figure out, well, did you have enough sales today? Did you sell enough Yum Burgers? Did you have enough stock to provide the customers with everything they needed? Or did you run out of Chicken Joy? If you're running out of Chicken Joy, then you're going to lose business. If you're not meeting your sales goals, then you're going to get yelled at by the boss. These kind of things you can look at and understand. What are the KPIs? What's the most important thing in any business? Making money. Are you making money? Are you able to do everything you need to do to ensure that you can keep making money? Think about SM. SM, we'll talk about the department store. If you're managing SM department store and you have under you a bunch of managers that are managing different departments, right? So you have a shoes manager, you have a handbags manager, you have a appliances manager, you have a beddings manager. Each one of those has a team under them. And you want to be able to understand how your store is doing and then how each team is doing. You want to understand what are the most important KPIs for each one. Which product in the purses and bags section is the most profitable? Which one do you want to sell more of? Which one are you not selling that you need to put a sales discount on? What type of discount can you afford to give? All these kind of questions could be answered by an analyst looking at KPIs. So if you like figuring out why things happen, If you're trying to understand things, if you're kind of like a detective, you like murder mysteries, you're trying to solve a lot of puzzle problems, then this is an area you may want to focus on. KPIs are what business managers need. Now, I talked about SM and big companies, but small companies need it too. Virtual assistants work for people that need to have better insight into their business. And that means that you have to be able to understand what are the most important KPIs. They usually revolve around, are you making a profit or not? And if you're not making a profit, what is causing you to not? Do you have issues with your inventory? Do you have issues with your staffing? Whatever, whatever. And that's what you want to figure out from KPIs. Now, if you want to find a good resource to learn more about KPIs, I suggest you go to the KPI library. Again, they have KPIs for every industry. If you want to specialize and work primarily with real estate agents, if you want to work with business coaches, if you want to work with people that are into multi-level marketing, then you can find information about what are the KPIs of those kind of people. And you can look for examples of it here. Oh, it says it down the KPIs. Okay, yeah. So they shut the doors of the KPI library. I need to update this, but they have the download here. And if you go to the YouTube and you look up KPI library, you're going to see a bunch of their old videos. But the point is, if you like the idea of kind of understanding why things happen, solving the mystery, you want to really get into key performance indicators. So take that knowledge and set up tracking KPIs for businesses in Excel. That's what KP Library used to do, and they still have a bunch of data out there you can look at, and they still have people on YouTube talking about them. I'll find another resource for you, though, before we do another version of this training. So that's KPIs. Next up, we'll talk about databases. So I mentioned that data gets structured, right? You have to have data, you have to have clean data, organized data. Then when you get a lot of it, you got to build databases. And databases require people that can use different programming languages. The most common is called SQL or SQL. It is by far and away the most common code used to be able to build a database. And a database basically takes a lot of data and organizes it and structures it so that an analyst can run a query and pull data out. Now you can have some places automate this, AI can do this, but still in most companies in the Philippines, they're still doing SQL coding. They still have IT teams or teams that are working in the computer area that write code to build and manage databases. If you've ever done coding before and you like it, if you like, understanding the nuts and bolts of how something's built, if you kind of got an interest in engineering, or if you've ever tried to figure out, how to design something simple and grow it and grow it and grow it, you might be attracted to databases. So become efficient in data management. You can go again to Code Academy, or you can go to Coursera, which is another source, which you can do a 7-day trial. So when you have 7 days ahead of you, you want to learn something and like really kind of like spend the next 7 days really diving into a topic like data warehouses or databases. Sign up for this free trial. You can also use multiple email addresses, set up multiple profiles, so you can get more than 7 days out of it. But the idea is that they have courses, right, that you can sign up for on things like IT support, business analyst, right? Business analyst, what do they got? Recommended certificate from Microsoft, certificates from Google. So you can, again, learn a lot of stuff here, right? So if you want to play with data and you want to build databases and data warehouses are just big collections of databases. You want to check out something like Coursera and figure out how to get familiar with the ideas. You can practice this using data that you pick up from Katie Nuggets. You can take Tableau or Power BI and put them on top of your database that you build. You can start using just Excel or Google Sheets to build your initial database. So it's all here, right? This is all connected. And again, a really good expert on analytics can do all these things, but most companies hire somebody to do pieces, one or two, maybe one. Maybe you have 10 people doing 10 different things. Which one appeals to you? Which one do you think is the one that you want to learn? So we got 2 more left. We'll cover these real quick. Data security and privacy, right? Requirements for data security. The Philippines has one of the most strongest or what's it called? The data privacy laws in the Philippines that were passed a few years ago are really strong. And so every company in the Philippines has to figure out how to comply. As well in the US and Europe, they're also very stringent with their data privacy. So you can find a lot of work if it's whether it's trying to look for fraud or trying to secure people's data. Maybe you write code, maybe you build a dashboard, maybe you prepare reports. But whatever you're doing, you're helping that business keep its data secure and private. So you can do things like go to Coursera, or you can go to Khan Academy, or you can go to LinkedIn Learning. Now, again, LinkedIn Learning starts out free, and then there's paid versions, but you can learn everything here. So I'm giving you these resources. Each one of you should pick at least one and start studying it. So if you want to learn how to do data security, data privacy, cybersecurity is a big one. If you want to get into cybersecurity, you can learn it through LinkedIn or Coursera. You don't have to go to college for that. You can just get a certificate in cybersecurity and you can start working for a big company online from home. So these are the things that you can look at as a VA. Do you want to get into things where you're trying to understand why things get hacked or how to prevent it? This is for you, right? So being able to ensure companies are complying with data security, data privacy. If you like to be an online cop, then I think you might have found your calling in this section. The last one is critical thinking and problem solving skills. You want to be able to make data-driven decisions. This is what the business owners are hiring you to help them do by solving problems, and you can get case studies, right? So case studies basically are who's already figured this out. I always say that there are very, very few questions that people haven't already answered. We just don't know they've been answered. So if you're in a business, you're trying to figure out why are my sales down? If you own a business, trying to figure out what I should do to launch a new product. If you're trying to figure out where am I going to find new clients from, you're not trying to solve something that no one solved before. You're trying to solve something that many people have solved before, and they talk about it. They share it. YouTube is full of experts saying how they did this, how they 10x their business, how they're able to grow from zero to a six-figure income in 3 months. Whatever it is, these people are talking about they've figured out how to solve problems. They're talking about how to do things, and mostly are talking about they use data to do it. If you look behind success, data is always there. Very, very few people are successful by luck. It's the data. It's the ability to access the data, analyze the data, use the data for modeling, for storytelling, for dashboards, for understanding KPIs, building databases. It's all connected to the data. So again, as a virtual assistant, if you're looking to add to your skill set, figure out what part of this process you want to learn and become good at it. If you want to be somebody who's always trying to help recommend stuff, if you like solving, not just solving problems, like figuring out the mystery, but communicating it and sharing it, trying to be able to one talk about, hey, I think we can do this and this is why. If you can kind of take together a bunch of different things that you learn and you share it, this is what analytics is all about. It's about being able to influence decision making, to inform, to educate, to enable people to make better choices based on the data and not off their gut feel. Small business owners and medium-sized business owners crave for this because they don't usually have big enough teams to do it to compete with the BDOs and the Philippine Airlines of the world. They need one good VA who can start, and then maybe they hire another one at some point. But the idea is you need somebody who can get in there and help them solve problems. So that is really where you can turn to the last resource we'll talk about, which is Data Camp. Again, Data Camp is something that you can start for free, then you can buy later. They have a lot of followers on YouTube that you can learn from. There's a lot of things out there. This is also a great place to learn for AI. If you want to learn how to make your own ChatGPT, or you want to learn how ChatGPT works on the inside, somewhere like Data Camp would be good. You can go to Katie Nuggets, you can go to Coursera, but I think Data Camp's another good resource for you. So that's the 10 tools, right? That's 10 tools I've given you guys tonight that you can use to figure out how do you level yourself up. Nobody's going to train you to be an analyst. You're not going to get hired by somebody and then they're going to train you to do analytics. You're going to have some training to get hired. It's not like a job where you can be taught, do this, this, and this, and then everything's perfect. It's like, well, try this and see if it works. Well, you figure out why it's not working. No, you need to figure out what the data tells you. I don't have time to do it myself, so you have to do it. That's analytics. It's hard. It's not easy. That's why analytics jobs pay more. That's why the average business analyst in the Philippines makes close to 40K a month, where the average call center agent makes a little over 20K. Double the salary. Sometimes the same education background. Most people that are in analytics don't have an analytics background. There are colleges in the Philippines that teach analytics, but it's a small percentage of people that are actually doing the job. All it takes is somebody who's curious and comfortable working with numbers. If you're comfortable working with numbers and spreadsheets and you're curious, then this is how you level up. This is how you get from where you're at now to where I am. Take some time. It'll take a lot of self-education, a lot of training that you initiate yourself, but you can get there. So that's really my talk for tonight. I do have a YouTube channel I mentioned before, right? So if you go to Dan Meyer, virtual staffing expert on YouTube, you will see a playlist or several playlists about analytics skills. I basically recorded a masterclass for free. Also, I have a masterclass that's available through Surge Marketplace. Either place you go, you'll get a lot of more tips, kind of flesh out these topics, be able to give you more insight into how to be a good analyst. Basically, that's what I want you to focus on, is how do you take all this stuff we talked about tonight and figure out where to get started. I want to thank you for your time. I think it's very cool that we're all tonight. I'm going to stop the share. All right. Last thing we'll talk about is, again, if you have any, if you need more information, feel free to reach out to us. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Dan Meyer, Virtual Staffing Expert. Find Sonic VA on Facebook or LinkedIn. That's my talk for tonight. Thank you for your time. Now get out there and crunch some numbers.